We are all worried about artificial intelligence taking over the world. I know. This is a very terrifying reality. We imagine a worst-case scenario being a future where AI rules over us like in the Terminator, treating us like cattle or like a disease. But some of us fear a world ruled by our wealthy elite, wielding artificial intelligence against us. In the 80s and early 90s, there was a similar fear about the computer takeover. Minor, tedious roles were suddenly all being performed by programs and machines. What used to take an entire floor of secretaries and stenographers to do could now be completed by a single digital box in a cubicle. This extended into the automation of everything, taking all of our jobs, from the purchase of gasoline going to a self-serve, to the manufacturing of products being performed by robots, to our current antisocial world of automated tellers and clerks facilitating our purchases. People are redundant in today's world, and it's only a matter of time before that paradigm shift makes you redundant as well. But the computer takeover didn't begin when robots started building our cars and selling us groceries. The computer takeover began in World War II, when rooms full of women used to plug away at tedious math problems to try to bust German military plans. A computer used to be a person with a pen and a piece of paper and needles and pieces of wood. And because computing turned out to be so useful, once that juggernaut started, there was no stopping it. The flashy images, the convenient phone apps and video games that we get with our computer today are just a bonus to keep us happy about living in a computerized world. It's flashy dressing to keep us engaged. In the exact same way, AI already took over a long time ago. Artificial intelligence has been at the core of our civilizational structure and growth for well over a decade now, likely much longer, and that has become most obvious in the soulless, sterile, money-hungry tactics employed by corporate America. The way they market to us, the way they sell to us, the way that they keep us engaged and continuously paying into products to which we have already invested. Their decisions are now governed by the almighty algorithm. The algorithm is the core of the artificial intelligence. An algorithm could make decisions without a human being involved at all in that process. We can pre-program a robot to move specific ways, to perform specific tasks, and even give specific responses. But a machine becomes artificial intelligence when its decision-making process does not have predetermined outcomes, and instead tries to predict and mimic human behaviors and desires. The main purpose of an artificial intelligence is to interact with humans and to make decisions for them, whether it be for the customer or for the business. With those artificial intelligence robots that they've been parading around today, it appears their only purpose is really just for novelty, showing how blending in with us could be a possible thing in the future. But for the most part, the almighty algorithm is used to rule us, to usurp us, to manipulate us, to try to figure us out and get ahead of us, to create a false reality based on the desires that we've displayed in the past, and constantly feed us a lie to keep us engaged with the matrix and perpetually paying into and investing into our corporate overlords. The AI continuously future fakes us, convincing us that if we make that one last purchase, then we'll finally achieve that happiness that we've been promised our entire lives. But it's a lie, my friends. The AI is lying. The goal is never to give you what you actually want. The goal is just to figure out what you want, to trick you into buying the next thing. There are no other places that this is more obvious than in the film and television industries and in the video game industry, two forms of entertainment that are prime territory for the algorithm. We all know entertainment keeps getting progressively worse and worse. There are a handful of great creators out there still killing it, like James Gunn and Tim Burton, but even they are forced to operate within the corporate system, following directions that are essentially derived from algorithmic data. So functionally, an artificial intelligence was still involved in writing the script for Guardians of the Galaxy. We should be offended by this. Artificially generated art is not art, okay? Bragging that you created a series of funny AI-generated images on Twitter is like bragging that you had a really amazing dream. Nobody cares. It means nothing. All it means is you asked a computer to do a thing and it did it. Make your own art. It might be silly to discuss video games, but games are geared towards children, and it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. And if corporate America has taught us anything, it's that corporations are going to be the most despicable when targeting children and the vulnerable. And looking at the gaming industry will enlighten us on how all corporations think in general, and the way that they treat us as consumers and even mistreat us as citizens of the world, all in the name of greed and control. Now in worship of their algorithm god. The video game industry just makes it so much more obvious than other products and other industries. The way that they gouge their customers every step of the way for every dime they can possibly squeeze. You get it? Algorithm equals money god. I am doing this on purpose. When you hear algorithm, think money. There are a ton of great creators who expose corruption in the gaming industry.
What's that, Axeman? You expected this feature to work? Sounds like you haven't heard of a little thing called modern gaming.
Luckily, the world is waking up to this. Millions of people watch content like this.
Is that what I think it is? Is that fucking blue? Is that fucking blue?
But the scary thing is some of these guys are veterans with millions of followers. Like, I've been watching Angry Joe since Bing.com, before I even knew about YouTube. And they don't seem to be slowing the game industry down at all. The algorithm has become a juggernaut because of how it serves the board committees and their investors. The bottom line is always what is most important to a game. Games are no longer born of creative inspiration and desire to deliver a great gaming experience. Now, instead, they're designed to convince players to gamble on loot box crates and make constant microtransactions to alter their experience. Or even download needless vanity skins or color schemes.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's fucking shiny blue! Oh, well, fucking that is... Oh, that's great now, isn't it? Oh, well, good for you! Oh, I'm sorry! Oh, God, it's everything's so different, Joe! But, Joe, it's shiny blue! What is that, fucking blue? You want me to pay you, what, $15 for fucking shiny blue? Fucking shiny blue! Are you fucking serious?
It's less about the algorithm literally being in control. Obviously, a human is behind this decision, but it's the algorithm that is enticing the players to constantly engage. And they do that by trying to read your mind, then waving all of your desires in front of your face, hoping they can trick you into paying money to get a dopamine hit. All games are now designed to be as addictive as a phone app. On YouTube, the algorithm is obviously my greatest enemy. Artificial intelligence decides that kids like certain keywords. So artificial intelligence boosts up certain creators like the Paul brothers. Artificial intelligence doesn't care that the Paul brothers have been at the center of several scandals and have committed multiple immoral acts in their videos and keep getting caught scam after scam after scam. The algorithm just knows knows kids like their fast talking and their keywords. The algorithm isn't trying to give the audience something of value. The algorithm is just trying to give the audience something it thinks will make it the most money. So if something is controversial, if something is slow and boring and difficult to understand, then the algorithm doesn't give a fuck. That shit's not gonna make it any money. Artificial intelligence decides what is valuable information. Artificial intelligence is already engineering the way people think. Artificial intelligence is already teaching you. It's already governing your mind. Artificial intelligence is telling you what is funny, what is entertaining, what is worth your time. And most importantly, kids, artificial intelligence is telling you what is true. Dun dun dun. The way that algorithms work with media and social media on the internet in general is the way a customer service agent or maybe a ticket salesman would have acted at a movie theater or some sort of an arcade maybe. YouTube and other platforms use their algorithm as a receptionist for their company, giving you suggestions. The algorithm is an artificial intelligence employee. And the same way that YouTube puts their artificial intelligence between you and them, they also put it between them and myself. So if I'm not successful, they can just say, sorry buddy, it's the algorithm. But it doesn't matter what business, what industry, they all use the algorithm to make these kinds of decisions. And when the algorithm says do this to make money, they do it every time. And because they put it between them and you, they're shielding their own egos. So they don't have to care who gets hurt in the process. They're just following the directions of the almighty algorithm. The algorithm god says to do this. And we're so far into this thinking where this is normal. This is just what you do. That's how money works. You keep trying to trick people into giving it to you so that you can give it to the bank. And you never have to feel guilty because that's the religion. The algorithm god takes care of the guilt for you. You don't have to care that you're never actually delivering what the algorithm is promising the audience, because it's the algorithm promising that. But this works for all of your favorite brands into which you are investing. Your favorite shoes, your most popular makeup colors. Every industry is making more money off of you while doing less work, funneling more and more money into their pockets. And they do that by creating perception of value. An organic business built by people who have passion for creating a fun, immersive experience will create an image of a perfect gaming world in their head. They'll imagine themselves how their audience wants to navigate through the terrain, how they interact with the NPCs and objects in the game world, how they perform combat, how the gaming experience feels. A good programmer is someone who is trying to make a game that they themselves want to play, but they can't because that game doesn't exist yet. That's a good creator in general. That was my motivation for making the History is a Lie series. I wanted to see videos like that, and they just didn't exist. That's why we give love. Love for a product, love for creation, love for art, love for experience, and a love for sharing that experience with others. An algorithm, an artificial intelligence is never going to understand that. An artificial intelligence corrupts that thinking like a demon. It uses that kind of thinking and twists it to make money. When the artificial intelligence algorithm demon comes along, it corrupts that creative desire, turning it into a beast that consumes instead of giving. The business now doesn't try to love their customers by giving them a product that they believe in their heart that they will love and enjoy and play for years to come. Instead, the AI demon wants to figure out their customers' desires, predict them, get ahead of them, get inside of their customers' heads and trick them into perceiving their products as valuable and fun with flashy lights and cheap gimmicks, using key terms to shoehorn shoehorn in popular visuals and mechanics without actually delivering a meaningful gaming experience or fully appreciating what any of those things really mean to the customers. What, you like Batman? You like tanks? Here's Batman and a tank. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Play the game. Buy it. That's how you make the worst games ever. That's how you ruin gaming franchises. That's how you ruin movie franchises. All of social media works this way too. Almost all the time you spend staring at a screen, an algorithm is manipulating you into liking something that you probably don't even like. This is going to create a cognitive disconnect and may be causing or creating depression or stress in your life that you can't quite pinpoint. And likely that's because you're spending a lot of time doing something that you think that you like doing, that you actually don't like doing, that you're really just addicted to doing because an algorithm has fucking tricked you. Halo Infinite, for example, has noticeably worse physics and graphics than installments from over a decade ago. I don't play Halo, but I've seen multiple comparison videos. And this happens because games are rushed to market so fast today, the developers didn't even have time to make the sandbox as good as the older versions. That's fucking pathetic. That's how corporations treat you. They insult you. But the developers, they had to do that because the algorithm god doesn't care if the game is good or if the game is complete. The publisher says that the algorithm god just wants the game released before Christmas to ensure maximum return on investments within the first quarter of next year. The customer is just an afterthought in that process. You are an afterthought. You are simply a slave to these products now. You are a slave to the screen until you choose to disengage. They keep promising you things that they're never going to deliver, and they just keep taking for granted that you'll blindly follow those promises. So stop giving that to them. Stop engaging with the Matrix. Entertainment is not for us anymore. Eventually you have to accept that it's never going to get better. But you know how game apps are. You spend more time sitting through in-game ads and having to click through constant prompts trying to get you to buy in-game tokens and crystals or whatever so you can buy soldiers to upgrade your farms than you actually spend playing the game. There's no gameplay, which sounds silly. Why would you waste your money on shit like that? Why would you waste your money on upgrading your farms in a game that has no gameplay? Well, after that initial easy phase of the phone app where they just keep giving you dopamine hits by upgrading everything quickly and making everything look like it's stronger and giving you like a handful of army men to make you look strong, well, eventually the phone app game just hits this wall where you basically can't progress at all without either paying money or grinding for days at a time just to do one little fun thing. It takes those dopamine hits away from you and only promises to give them back either one hit at a time after a day of grinding watching ads, or by paying money to let you have 5 or 6 dopamine hits that day. This is called pay to win. These kinds of payments are called microtransactions. Think about how maybe one of your favorite products makes you keep paying little bits of money here and there to keep upgrading it or keeping it relevant in some way after you've already paid something like $100 to purchase it. Again, a person is making that decision. A person is making the input into that algorithm, but the algorithm's function is to continuously come up with new ways to trick you into continuing to engage. The last video game that I really played was Star Wars Battlefront 2, and the online portion of that game was basically unplayable if you do not dump a bunch of money into your character. Some kid in Korea with rich parents just mowed down your entire squad with a handgun because he bought 500 loot boxes on release date. I paid $90 for this game and I can't even run 20 feet eat sometimes before getting humiliated. We know not to invest in products like this, yet we keep buying games like this because the algorithm put all those characters that we love and all the vehicles we remember and the blasters and lightsabers that we crave. We see them on the box, we see them on the poster, we see them in the advertisement, and we see them in the intro cinematic. But the game itself, the gameplay is fucking garbage. The algorithm won. It fucking tricked me like a witch, like my passive-aggressive ex-wife. AI algorithms suggesting artistic decisions to make products as hypothetically profitable as possible ironically end up making them less playable. Art is our culture. The stories that we tell in our films and our books and our plays and our games reflect whom we are as a people and who we should want to be. We create ideal versions of ourselves to which we want to strive, and then immerse ourselves into those realities to escape the harshness of our reality. And we do this to communicate complex ideas to each other, to share love with each other, to expose who we are as creators. We create these artistic realities to escape our overlords. It's a place we share together into which they are never welcome. But now they are the overlords of that imaginary world, and they have made the AI its god. We no longer have a space for our minds that is just for us. Art is a reflection of us as a people. We go see films to see an artist's interpretation of our universe and of humanity, of ourselves. And we learn about ourselves, we learn about the world in the process. George Lucas might be a little obtuse with his communication skills, but he was trying to show us how authoritarianism sneaks up and takes over everything. And then he sold his IP to those very fucking terrible people he was describing. Today, artificial intelligence is engineering our entertainment, trying to predict what we want to see based on our past purchases, based on things our eyes have looked at even, like our fucking cameras are watching what our eyes look at, and then trying to determine what we want based on that. It's that stupid. This is going to have profound, damaging psychological effects on us as humans and our culture for generations to come. Robots are becoming our storytellers. Do you get it? Robots are dictating our culture. They're teaching us our ideals now. They're teaching us how to be perfect versions of humans. And they're doing this based on things that we like? Robots are in charge of showing us the reflection of ourselves and our culture. Right now, artificial intelligence is telling artists how to make their art. And how long before artificial intelligence is just the one making it. The screen is in charge, guys. The screen. The screen controls you. Turn off the screen.